So let's see about dural venous sinuses. To understand dural venous sinuses, you need to understand three coverings of the brain. Okay, they are from outer to inner: dura mater, arachnoid mater, pia mater. So this is a skull. This is a sagittal, not sagittal. I'm sorry, coronal section. Coronal section. You can see here the different layers. This is the skull, dura mater, arachnoid mater, pia mater. Now between the two layers of dura mater has got two layers. One layer which is attached to the skull, other layer which is towards the arachnoid mater. So between these two layers of dura mater, there's a space, and that space is called venous sinuses. And venous sinuses are usually filled with blood, and they are lined by endothelium. Their lining epithelium is the endothelium, or the simple squamous epithelium. So these are the blood filled spaces which are seen between the two layers of dura mater. Now they are draining the venous blood from meninges and brain. So what do? They receives the veins which drains the meninges as well as the brain. We have seen three layers: dura, arachnoid, and the pia mater. So deep to the pia mater, we have the brain tissue. So the veins which are draining the brain and the meninges, that they drain into the venous sinuses. And these veins, or these veins which are related in the venous sinuses or to the venous sinuses, are not having valves. We know that usually the veins have valves, but here there is no valve. And cranial venous sinuses communicate with veins outside the skull through emissary veins. The venous sinuses which are located within the skull, they can communicate with the veins which are outside the skull through communicating veins which are called as emissary veins. We can see in this diagram emissary veins which are connecting the dural venous sinuses with the veins which are located outside the skull. So for example, the veins in the scalp which is connected to the dural venous sinuses via emissary veins. In this diagram, the dural venous sinuses can be seen clearly that the dura mater, there are three layers: dura mater, arachnoid mater, and the pia mater, which consist of the meninges. Now the dura mater has got two layers, outer layer and inner layer. In between that, there is an area, and that is the dural venous sinuses. Now these diagrams is showing the different dural venous sinuses that is seen in different areas. We can see all this marked area, blue colored area, are the dural venous sinuses. So there can be paired venous sinuses and unpaired venous sinuses. Paired venous sinuses are the sinuses which are seen on either side, whereas unpaired venous sinuses are the sinuses that can be seen on single side. So let's see first paired venous sinuses. So here there is one sinus on right and left side. For example, this sinus is seen on the right and the left sinus. Side, I'm sorry, right and left side. So we are going to name the sinuses which are located on both sides of the skull. First one, cavernous sinus. Cavernous sinus are the sinus which are located here. Cavernous sinus. These are cavernous sinus. Again, in this diagram, cavernous sinus can be seen. Superior petrosal sinus. Superior petrosal sinus are here. This area. Superior petrosal sinus is related to the petrous part of temporal bone. Cavernous sinus is related to the body of the sphenoid bone. On either side of the body of the sphenoid bone, we have cavernous sinus. Inferior petrosal sinus, which is related to the lower aspect of the petrous part of temporal bone. Inferior petrosal sinus. Here we can see inferior petrosal sinus. Transverse sinus, which is seen on the occipital bone. Transverse sinus. Transverse sinus can be seen here also. Transverse sinus. Sigmoid sinus. Transverse sinus will continue as sigmoid sinus. The transverse sinus, which continues as sigmoid sinus, which is S-shaped sinus. Sphenoparietal sinus. Sphenoparietal sinus is related to the sphenoid bone and the parietal bone. This is the lesser wing of sphenoid bone, and this area we have the parietal bone. So this is the sphenoparietal sinus. Petrosquamous sinus. Petrosquamous sinus, again a sinus which is related to the petrous part of temporal bone and the squamous part of the temporal bone. Petrosquamous, which is not there in the diagram. So these are the different sinuses. One more, that is middle meningeal sinus. Middle meningeal sinus is located here in this area. Again, it is related to the sphenoid bone. Middle meningeal sinus. So these are the different sinuses which are paired sinuses, which are seen on either side of the skull. We can also see that the sigmoid sinus is communicating, or it is continuing down as internal jugular vein. Now let's see the unpaired venous sinuses. Unpaired venous sinuses are seen in the midline usually. So these are placed in the median plane at the middle, and they are superior sagittal sinus. Superior sagittal sinus is seen in this area. Inferior sagittal sinus is here. Superior sagittal sinus is related to the falx cerebri. Falx cerebri is the dural fold. On upper aspect of falx cerebri, superior sagittal sinus is present. On the lower aspect, inferior sagittal sinus is also present. Straight sinus. Straight sinus is related to the tentorium cerebelli. Tentorium cerebelli is again another dural fold. So this is straight sinus. Occipital sinus, which is related to the occipital bone, can be seen here at the middle of occipital bone. Anterior intercavernous sinus. Anterior intercavernous sinus communicate the two cavernous sinus of both sides anteriorly. So this is anterior intercavernous sinus. These are cavernous sinus. Posterior intercavernous sinus are the sinuses which are connecting the two cavernous sinus posteriorly. It is posterior intercavernous sinus. Basilar plexus of veins. They are located the clivus part of the bone of the skull. This is basilar plexus of veins. There are group of veins can be seen. So we have seen the unpaired venous sinuses. There are 7 unpaired venous sinuses located almost in the midline of the skull. These are another diagrams where we can see different sinuses. Cavernous sinus can be seen clearly. These are the different bones, skull bones, which are forming the base of the skull. And there are 3 fossas: anterior, middle, and posterior cranial fossas. This diagram is showing coronal section of the cavernous sinus. The left and right cavernous sinus can be seen. So this is actually section is taken at this level. This yellow mark can be seen. That is a section, and it looks like this. So let's talk about cavernous sinus. Now each cavernous sinus is a large venous space. So it is a large venous space which is having a lot of small septae within it, and we see in that the small septa within the cavernous sinus, which is situated in the middle cranial fossa. Location is in the middle cranial fossa. This is the area where the cavernous sinus is located, and on either side of body of sphenoid bone. So this bone here is called the sphenoid bone, which has got a body, and on this is the body of the sphenoid bone. On either side of the body of the sphenoid bone, we can see the cavernous sinus. That can be seen here, cavernous sinus. So these are seen on either side of the body of the sphenoid. This is the sphenoid bone. On either side, we can see the cavernous sinus. Now, anteriorly, the sinus extends up to the medial end of superior orbital fissure. Superior orbital fissure is a gap through which the orbit communicates with middle cranial fossa. So the cavernous sinus can extend up to the superior orbital fissure. Posteriorly, it is extending up to extending up to the apex of Peters part of temporal bone. This bone is called Peters part of temporal bone. So posteriorly, the cavernous sinus reaches up to the apex of Peters part of temporal bone. Temporal bone, Peters part of temporal bone is a triangular shaped structure. The apex is located here. So this is a Peters part of temporal bone, and this area we have the cavernous sinus. Now there are some structures which are related in the lateral wall of the sinus from above downwards. So this area is the lateral wall of the sinus. This is the medial wall. When you take a section, you can see that this is the left and right cavernous sinus, and this is the lateral wall. This side is the lateral wall. There are some structures which can be seen on the lateral wall. They are from above downwards. Oculomotor nerve. Oculomotor nerve is the third cranial nerve. Trochlear nerve is the fourth cranial nerve. Ophthalmic nerve. Ophthalmic nerve is a branch of trigeminal nerve. Maxillary nerve is located here. Maxillary nerve below it. There is also a branch of trigeminal nerve, and little posteriorly, trigeminal ganglion is also present. So this is a area we are talking about, the cavernous sinus lateral wall. Oculomotor nerve, trochlear nerve, ophthalmic nerve. Here we can see this. This is a trigeminal ganglion. Trigeminal nerve has a ganglion which has three divisions. At this area, the trigeminal nerve is dividing into three parts. Ophthalmic branch that can be seen on the lateral wall. Then the maxillary division also can be seen on the lateral wall. And this area, we have the trigeminal ganglion. Now there are some structures which are present inside the cavernous sinus. So this is the cavernous sinus. We will see in the lateral wall. Inside the cavernous sinus, there is structure. There are structures. They are internal carotid artery with the venous and sympathetic plexus around it. So internal carotid artery is seen at the center of cavernous sinus. You know, internal carotid artery passes through the carotid canal and reaches the cavernous sinus. Another structure which is related with the carotid artery is abducens nerve. Abducens nerve is the sixth cranial nerve which lies infralateral to the internal carotid artery. This can be seen on either side. So these are the structures which are seen inside the cavernous sinus. We can see here the carotid artery. Here in this area, the cavernous sinus is opened to show the carotid artery. Now, what are the tributaries of cavernous sinus? So when we see the veins, we read about the tributaries. Similarly, we are seeing a big vein which is draining the brain and the skull, that is cavernous sinus. And what are the veins which are reaching into the cavernous sinus? they are superior ophthalmic vein. So this is the location of cavernous sinus. So veins which are coming from the eye, superior ophthalmic vein, is draining into cavernous sinus, because you can see the relation of the orbit with the cavernous sinus. So the superior ophthalmic vein that will drain the cavernous sinus. Then, what are the other veins which are related or which are draining into cavernous sinus? Inferior ophthalmic vein is another vein which is arising from the orbit below the superior ophthalmic vein, that also drain into cavernous sinus. Central vein of retina. Retina is the deep layer of the eyeball. From there, some veins are arising that drains into cavernous sinus. Superficial middle cerebral vein, that can be seen in this diagram. Superficial middle cerebral veins, they are draining into the cavernous sinus. This is the cavernous sinus. Superficial middle cerebral veins. Inferior cerebral vein are the veins which are draining the inferior aspect of the brain, that drains into cavernous sinus. Sphenoparietal sinus. Sphenoparietal sinus, we have already seen it somewhere. Sphenoparietal sinus. Let me show you it once again. Yeah, this one. This is sphenoparietal sinus. We can see it is medially, it is draining into cavernous sinus. So these are the different tributaries of cavernous sinus. Now, thrombosis of the cavernous sinus. It is an infection leading to blood clot caused by complication of an infection in the paranasal or central phase sinuses. We already mentioned about emissary veins, which are connecting the sinuses to the exterior of the skull. Right? I hope you remember that. I'll just show you that once again. This is the emissary vein. So through this emissary veins, any infection which is there outside can easily enter into the sinuses. Then that infection leads to thrombosis of the cavernous sinus. If it reaches one sinus, it can reach any sinus because everything is connected. That's what you're seeing here. All the sinuses are connected with each other. Now, in this case, there will be inflammation of cavernous sinus that leads to group of signs and symptoms: fatigue, seizures, vomiting, impaired vision because it is near to the eyeball, boil on the face, drooping of eyelids. So the nerves will be affected because many of the nerves are passing on the lateral wall of cavernous sinus. High temperature, sign of inflammation. Sinusitis, an infection in the skull. The bones, there are some spaces in the bones that get inflamed. Severe pain or numbness in the face, that is because of this affecting trigeminal nerve. Infection in the eyes, redness, swelling, or irritation around the eyes because it is having close relation. The eyeball is having close relation with the cavernous sinus.